It may be happening again. An NFL draft prospect perceived to be the #1 quarterback in early January has emerged from the pre-draft inspection gauntlet without that distinction. To quote draftnik vernacular, he's sliding down draft boards. At least according to some pundits. Dwayne Haskins, that is. The unofficial, 4-month prospect teardown period is all but over, while misinformation campaigns by some teams are in full swing. Keep it in mind as read all of this. Murmurs in some corners of the NFL universe claim Haskins is now regarded as overrated. Look, this happened to Geno Smith in 2013, who fell from the perceived no. overall pick in January into the second round, finally taken after Buffalo had made E.J. Manuel the first QB pick the night before. The readjustment on Smith was warranted, as he has proved a lousy pro. It also happened to Teddy Bridgewater in 2014, who slid below Blake Bortles and Johnny Manziel when Minnesota took him at number 32 overall. It might be happening again with Haskins, the one-season superstar at Ohio State. Amid all this, in a real surprise, the NFL did not list the tall, strong-armed passer among those attending Round 1 of the NFL Draft 2 weeks from Thursday night in Nashville. Is that more proof Haskins' stock is in a free fall? No, at all. It turns out, it's not that the NFL opted not to invite Haskins. It did. He declined the invitation, apparently to watch the draft on TV back home with family in Potomac, MD. On Tuesday night, the league revealed the list of 23 prospect invitees who have committed to attending the first night of the draft in Nashville. The three quarterbacks who are attending: Kyler Murray of Oklahoma, Drew Lock of Missouri and Daniel Jones of Missouri. Many, if not the majority, of draft prognosticators now assert Murray, the last year's diminutive Heisman Trophy winner, is the best passer in this year's crop, no matter how short he is. That had not been the case at the start of the pre-draft process in January, when Haskins was seen by most as #1 over Murray. Both players left college with a year of eligibility remaining. But who knows which QB will be taken first? As I always say now at this time of year, everybody's guessing. Everybody. Every GM, every scout, every head coach. Even Bill Belichick. Everyone. That's why it's never a lock that the #1 passer taken is likeliest at his position to succeed in the league. Ask 2006 round draft pick Tom Brady. Haskins' declination came a day after Peter King of NBC Sports wrote that he has heard Haskins' draft stock is indeed plummeting. King wasn't even the first to suggest as much. Still, not all reports concur. I'd still be surprised if he wasn't a mid-first round pick. NFL Network's Ian Rapoport said Wednesday afternoon. If he's falling, what would be the reason? I don't know. I haven't heard that. I have, but I'm not ready to buy the reasons. At the NFL annual meeting 2 weeks ago, I heard wisps that some league talent evaluators have come to sour on Haskins, because even though he played spectacularly in his one season of starting for the Buckeyes, setting new Big Ten single-season records for touchdown passes, 50, passing yards, 4,831, and total yards, 4,939, his footwork is a mess, and his pocket awareness even is worse. I heard one prediction that Haskins is a round 2 talent. I still don't believe it. One of the primary knocks on Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago was that his footwork was a mess, his throwing mechanics were far too inconsistent, and his decision-making too wild. Yeah, he was the NFL MVP in year 2 with the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, if, as Haskins did, you can complete 70% of your passes for an average of 345 yards and 3.6 touchdown passes per game in one season at Ohio State, and look like an infallible passing assassin nearly all the time in doing so, then you're one helluva NFL prospect, period. Even in OSU's only loss in 2018, at Purdue on his Saturday night, the Maryland native completed 49 of 73, 67%, for 470 yards and 2 TDs, against only 1 interception and 1 sack. On average over the 2018 season, Haskins was sacked once every 27 pass attempts. Yeah, not very often. What's more, over his last 3 regular season games, wins over Maryland, Michigan, with its then top-ranked NCAA defense, and Northwestern in the Big Ten title game, Haskins completed 75% of his passes for 1,300 yards and 14 TDs, against just 2 interceptions and 5 sacks. That's incredible production at season's crunch. At least the Oakland Raiders reportedly aren't down on Haskins. NFL Network's Mike Silver said Wednesday the Raiders remain very high on Haskins, and to not be surprised if they use one of their 3 first-round picks on him. The draft can't get here fast enough. Accepted invitations. Of the 9 other offensive players attending the draft, 4 are tackles: Jawan Taylor of Florida, Andre Dillard of Washington, Jonah Williams of Alabama, and Cody Ford of Oklahoma. 2 are tight ends, both from Iowa, T.J. Hawkinson and Noah Fant. 2 are wide receivers, Marquise Brown of Oklahoma and D.K. Metcalf of Mississippi, and only 1 as a running back, Alabama's Josh Jacobs. Defenders include ends Nick Bosa of Ohio State, Brian Burns of Florida State, and Montez Sweat of Mississippi State. Linebackers Josh Allen of Kentucky, Devin White of LSU, and Devin Bush of Michigan. Tackles Quinn and Williams of Alabama, Ed Oliver of Houston, and Christian Wilkins of Clemson. And defensive backs DeAndre Baker of Georgia and Greedy Williams of LSU. The 84th draft goes Thursday, April 25th, round 1, 8 p.m. EDT, Friday, April 26, rounds 2 to 3, 7 p.m. EDT, and Saturday, April 27th, rounds 4 to 7, noon EDT. Rodgers moves on. At his first news conference of the spring, Green Bay Packers QB Aaron Rodgers declined to elaborate on his passionate rebuttals on the weekend to Tyler Dunn's Bleacher Report story last week, which dug down deep into the toxic dysfunction behind the scenes between then head coach Mike McCarthy and a tuned-out Rodgers. The report said Rodgers had held long-standing grudges against McCarthy, dating back to the 2006 draft, and that their inability to get along bore poison fruit on the field for years. For example, young receivers typically had to choose between following McCarthy's sent-in play call or Rodgers' ordered adjustments. The QB told ESPN Milwaukee a few days ago that the report was a smear attack that quoted mostly irrelevant, bitter players who all have an agenda, whether they're advancing their own careers or just trying to stir old stuff up. Rodgers said Wednesday he stands by those comments. I've heard from 100-plus former teammates and coaches and current teammates and coaches who have offered their support, he said. New Pat, Old Pat. New England announced the signing of free agent tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins. It's a smart move, as Seferian-Jenkins has flashed great potential in recent years without the benefit of a good QB to throw him the ball. That's no longer an issue for him. Also, the Patriots confirmed they have resigned PK Stephen Gostkowski, even though he had a subpar year accuracy-wise, by NFL standards and especially his extra points. In an interesting and possibly trend-setting move, Tampa Bay hired Larry Rose as the team's officiating consultant. He will assist Buccaneers coaches and players with knowledge and interpretations of the rules and in-game strategy, including assistance with replay challenge decisions on game day. Rose was an official at the pro and college levels for 40 years. The NFL and NFLPA, in a joint statement Tuesday night, confirmed reports that the two sides met to discuss negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement. The league and the union have committed to meet regularly in the coming months, which will involve staff, NFL leadership, members of the NFLPA Executive Committee and player representatives. Cincinnati resigned Alex Redmond to a 1-year deal. Tampa Bay signed DBO Ryan Stewart. Joe Cricket, postmedia.com @GionCrick.